Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Thank you once again for checking out my channel. Thank you. Just getting off work as always. A lot of people are mad in Detroit who work for Stellantis because they will not be getting a profit sharing check. They've highly upset. They saying the first 2 quarters they did make a profit, although Stellantis did say they lost like $23 billion. Don't know how that happened. I think they lost their CEO like last year or something like that. So they went through a hard time, you know. And Stellantis, or as we like to say in Detroit, Chrysler, it employs a lot of people from Detroit. And, you know, this really kind of impacted, if you want to say, the economy of Detroit, the well-being of Detroiters. So I understand the bigger problem is Ford and GM still got their profit sharing check. Okay, I think, don't quote me on this because I didn't really research it, because I don't really track this because I don't work for the big three anymore. You know, I did work for a company under one of the big threes for a short period of time, and we did have some profit sharing checks, but it wasn't like to these degree. But I do believe I think GM got 10,000. I think Ford got like 7,000 or something like that. So to me, you know, that's pretty damn good, you know, just for coming to work. You know, that's just me though. You know, I'm humble. You know, I'm cool with that. You know, you want to pay me an extra $6,000 or $10,000 just to come to work, you know, that's cool. But a lot of people, you know, they just really upset about it. I was gonna stop and get me some McDonald's, but I ain't gonna go today. A lot of people just upset about it, bro. You know, but see, at my job, not my company that's mine, but at my regular government job, we do get profit sharing checks, but it's not to that degree. You know what I'm saying? You know, we do get something if the business does good. You know what I'm saying? When I was management, the reason I stepped down, ironically so, is because they try to build you up on these huge bonuses. And, you know, this is when I was salary, when I was management. Thank God, praise the Lord, I'm not management no more, because salary is the devil. Especially in retail. But they used to kind of hype me up on, oh, you're going to get this big profit sharing check and da-da-da-da. You know, all you got to do is keep coming to work. And then that profit sharing check don't come. You know, especially when you salary, at least at Stellantis, you know, they hourly, you know. But when you salary, man, you don't get that profit sharing check. Man, that junk hurt. That junk hurt, man. And that was one of the reasons why I did step down, because although I knew it wasn't guaranteed that I could get one, you know, when you salary, you trying to work on not losing money. You know, when you hourly, you still gonna get paid. You know what I'm saying? But when you salary like I was, man, you really, you playing Russian roulette. Because, when you salary, all them days you stayed over or you did work at home, you're not getting paid extra for that. But with that being said, man, Stellantis was on top of the game for like, I think almost 2 years. They had like one that was 15,000, and then I think they had another one that was like 13 or 14. So, but I think the bigger problem is people think a profit sharing check is guaranteed. And that's where you go wrong. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you're not supposed to count money before you make it. And a lot of people do that. But I do understand the concept of you looking forward to it. I got my bonus check coming from my job. Now, it ain't no 6,000, 10,000, but I'm always grateful for whatever I get. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people, man, they don't know how to, like, when you hit a lick or when you get extra, you supposed to put some money up, man. You ain't supposed to just go out and buy fucking Cardis and buy fucking fur coats and, you know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to automatically go take a vacation and, go out and buy like 10 pair of Jordans. Like, the bigger problem is a lot of people don't have financial structure in their life. Meaning that when you get extra money, the first thing you should do, in my opinion, and this is coming from somebody who is not a super financial strategist, but I do own my own business, and I do have 2 850 credit scores. My rule of thumb with money, and I try to do this as much as possible, but when you get extra money, I mean like money you didn't really plan on getting, okay, the first thing you need to do one or two things, depending upon how your household is ran. You either need to, I always suggest, pay off debt. So that means any credit card debt, any overdue utility bills, it might be taxes, anything like that. You need to pay that off. Okay? Or it might be somebody you owe. You need to pay them. Okay? You might owe a family member maybe $500, $300. Pay that off. Okay? Or number two, what I do, I save it. You know what I'm saying? When I get extra money, I don't run out and spend all of it. I might buy something small, like a new hat, maybe a new sweater or something. But 9 times out of 10, if it ain't my birthday or like Christmas or like, my anniversary or something like that, I'm gonna save it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna save it. Because I know that something is gonna happen where I'm gonna need that extra money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a if, it's a when, especially if you got a family. Like, when I was single, I didn't have no budget. When I was single, it's whatever. I meet a girl, whatever, we going out, but I was still saving when I was single. I was actually saving more money. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it does suck though, because like I tried to work for like one of them manufacturers, and man, when I tell you they work hard and they bust their ass every day, and them hot ass plants, and then they be cold, and then they have to do that mandatory like 15-hour shift, and them mandatory 10-hour shifts, and them mandatory 12-hour shifts. Like, that shit was not for me. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't last that long. I didn't last that long. I said, man, I'm about to go start my own company. If I'm gonna work this goddamn hard, I'm about to go start my own company. And that's what I did. And it worked out for me. I just knew I couldn't, because I could never plan my life. That was my biggest reason. It really wasn't the hard work. That was a factor, but the biggest thing about when you work for GM, Ford, and Chrysler, you know, it seems like it's just so hard to plan a life because you in that plant all day long. You know, I don't want to be somewhere 12, 15 hours all day, 6-7 days a week. You know, I don't want to do that. You know, to me, that's not living. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know y'all, they getting paid a great amount of money, but to me, that's not living. You know, I'll take a $30,000 pay cut, $40,000 pay cut, you know, to just work a normal job and make like $75,000, $80,000 a year. You know, because like my life is more important. You know, like I remember I was on the line then. It was like, well, everybody's mandatory, everybody stay an extra 3 hours. And this happened for like 3 months straight. Man, I was so tired. And then it wasn't even that I was tired, dude. Your whole structure of life is evolved around this plant, bro. And I just couldn't get jiggy with it. Now my cousins and my brother, they live that life, you know what I'm saying? And they doing very well. You know what I'm saying? They doing very well. You know? But, you know, to each his own. You know, in my mind, I'm like, man, you keep that profit share in check. You know, I'd rather have my freedom of life. You know, but shout out to all the Stellantis workers. I'm driving a Dodge Ram, so, you know, I love y'all products. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay up. Stay focused.